What happened to cereal box prizes? I like when my food comes with a toy, and for a little free trinket, they weren't half bad. And old Happy Meal toys, don't even get me started. They were so good and they were free with your meal, and now they're like cardboard. You could for sure sucker me into buying your cereal, toaster pastry, or pudding with the promise of a free little toy or trading card. I just wanted the damn prize. Well, where did they go? Growing up in the 90s and 2000s, it feels like every fun snack had shiny packaging, your favorite character, and a fun surprise toy inside. And we need that back. We need that whimsy again, because cereal box prizes where? They don't exist anymore. The very first cereal box prize ever came in a box of shredded wheat from 1894. That's right, 1894. This photo isn't even actually old enough to depict that timeline. Oh, and the prize was a book. Also, look what shredded wheat used to look like. They're like giant Hot Pockets of shredded wheat. It looks like uncooked ramen. Here's a 50s shredded wheat box with the promise of a Western comic book inside. But the first popular cereal box prize came out in 1909 when Kellogg's made the funny Jungleland moving picture books and added them to their cereals. I cannot believe that I found pictures of these from the early 1900s. That's crazy that people still have them and are putting the pictures online. I absolutely love that. And this book was more of an activity book where you could mix and match the animals' heads and bodies and feet to make them look different. And they continued to show up in cornflakes boxes for the next 28 years. Before my hair becomes a problem once again, I'm going to clip it back. Now, if we get more into the 1950s, more and more cereals are coming out with their own prizes to put in their boxes. Why though? Why did they give out these free prizes with their cereals? It's marketing. And a pretty genius marketing technique at that. Because when people, especially kids, see these cereals that come with the promise of a free prize or toy, of course they're gonna want them. They're gonna beg their parents for that cereal just for the prize alone. I should know. I did that. This actually became somewhat of a problem. By the 80s and 90s, almost every single brand of cereal had their own free cereal box prize included, and it became a fight to see who could have the best cereal box prize, therefore sell the most boxes. This breakfast with Barbie from the 80s is killing me. I love the picture of the actual Barbie, and it came with free Barbie nail stickers. But back in the 70s and 80s, some issues arose. Originally, the prizes were just chucked into the bag raw, just a loose, small plastic toy in the midst of your food. So of course, kids ate them. It became a huge choking hazard because a small toy in your cereal, you just pour it in the bowl, you don't even see it in there, and then people choked on it. It's a whole mess. So brands either started adding the toy between the plastic bag and the actual cereal box so it wasn't in the food, or the toy would come in like a little plastic bag, like a mini cereal bag, so that you couldn't miss it or accidentally eat it. This is what I remember, and my dad remembers fishing them out of the cereal box and the little bag would be covered in the cereal dust. Listen, back then they were making toys for kids that were literally just open hot plates with toxic goo. I'm not surprised they just chucked the toy into the Fruit Loops. Actually, prior to the late 1940s, the prize wasn't in the box at all. The cashier at the grocery store would give it to you when you checked out. It said that the very first prize that actually came in the box was in boxes of Kellogg cereal, and they were Pep Comics buttons in 1948. Yep, just a metal button with a sharp pin back floating around in your food. What a great idea. To be fair, I'm not 100% sure if these just floated loose in the food or if they were in plastic wrappers. I found a lot of like conflicting reports about loose toys in food and no, they were in plastic wrappers and back in this year. I think it was both. I think it depended on the brand. And allegedly the government even got their pennies in a twist over toys in cereal. I guess they didn't have anything better to do? They said the promise of a toy was tricking kids into wanting sugar-filled cereals. I guess the parents' choice on whether to buy it or not wasn't a factor, or the fact that kids always wanted sugar-filled cereals. Oh, and in the 60s and 70s, Cap'n Crunch made these little whistles as their cereal box prize, and these ended up being used to swindle the phone operator lines because the tone from the whistle was the perfect pitch to bypass the charge to make free long-distance phone calls. So people were buying these boxes to get this so they could make free long-distance calls. Do you remember asking to use someone's phone and they'd be like, yeah, sure, as long as it's not long distance? What a time. There have been hundreds, if not thousands of different cereal box prizes over the years. Let's go over some of the most iconic ones, and especially some of my favorites from the 90s and 2000s. The 70s and 80s. Something I thought was funny is that in the 70s and 80s, a bunch of the prizes were these little clip-on bike reflectors. It really just shows how incredibly popular bikes were for all ages. Here's a few different ones from some different brands, even a Garfield one. I think I've actually seen this at a thrift store. Monster cereals even had these little clip-on bike spinners that went on the handlebars. In 1973, Alphabets had pocket printers, really more like embossers, but a whole little contraption to emboss all your little notes and letters right there in your cereal box. What a deal. Glow-in-the-dark, wacky wall walkers could be found in boxes of Fruit Loops and Corn Pops in 1986. You know, like those little sticky guys that you would throw on the wall and they would like climb down. That was this. Putting a sticky, gooey blob in food just seems like an interesting idea. Like it came in plastic, but I can't help but imagine it like this, just floating around in the cereal. And like, can you imagine it in the car on a hot day? Ugh. A very authentic, totally real ghost detector could be found in Apple Jacks boxes in 1989. And maybe you've met his cousin, the fortune-telling fish. Honeycomb had digital watches as their prize in 1988, and these totally remind me of those Burger King watches. These ones, they also had like SpongeBob and The Simpsons, remember? Oh, and according to this box, little mini steak plates as your prize. I apologize if you can hear the obnoxious construction noises outside. I don't know why they have to be so loud every single time I sit down to film. In the 1980s, Post cereals had real mini terrariums inside where you could grow actual little plants. Frosted Flakes had a diving Tony the Tiger figure in the late 1980s. Starbots came in Kellogg cereal in the 80s as well, and these are kind of like a knockoff Transformer. You could get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bowls with your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cereal in the late 80s and the early 90s. I also found that Cookie Crisp had this little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mug. Oh, it's a color changing cup. That's fun. Small boxes of candy could even be found in some cereal boxes in the 80s and 90s, like Nerds. They also had a Nerd cereal, which is kind of crazy to me. What did this taste like? Bazooka bubblegum could also be found, and the ever elusive Cherry Cola Nerds, a rare find. The 90s. In the 90s, Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles had little color-changing dinosaurs. They changed color when you dipped them into water. It actually looks like they had a bunch of different little dinosaur figurines that came as prizes. Free Bedrock dinosaur with Fruity Pebbles, collect all 5. Here's those 5. They also had these little like skeleton dinos you could find in some Cocoa Pebbles. You could even get an Urkel for President button in an Urkel branded cereal called Urkel-os in the 90s. The Jetsons had their own cereal in 1990, and the prize was this lunar launcher, which is one of those little toys that you like stick the plastic stick in and you pull it out and it spins off real fast. Oh my God, and the Lion King color changing spoons, these are definitely one of the most iconic prizes that I remember. These were so cool. They changed color when you dipped them in milk, and they were Lion King themed, of course. Oh, these are one of my favorites. There were Aladdin color changing spoons as well. Here's those. In 1991, Trix also had color changing spoons, these ones with the bunny on top. These were super cool, but I specifically remember these Trix color changing spoons from the 2000s. So iconic. I loved when I went to a friend's house and they would let me use their color changing spoon. Oh, I felt so special. Trix also had these spiral finger spoons in 1995. I want one for every finger. I want to be spoon fingers. Kellogg's also had these tailspin spoons in the 90s. And Shreddies had color-changing spooky spoons. Clearly, spoons were like the hot prize of the 90s and 2000s, and I loved them. The spooky spoons in question. Frosted Flakes, actually branded as Frosties in 1992, had these little monster figures called Monster in My Pocket. These little guys, and they also had Monster Wrestlers in My Pocket. Kellogg's had Rescue Rangers stampers in 1990, like literally ink and rubber stampers. They had these of other characters as well. In 1997, Kellogg's had Simpsons water squirter toys. Kellogg's was really popping off with the toys. I love it. And in 1999, Kellogg's released a whole line of mini Sesame Street toys called Mini Beans. Oh my God, these are so cute. I love these so much. I'm pretty sure I had a few of these because this would have been like perfect timing for how old I was at the time. They're so adorable. They even had these special Mini Beans holders where there's a pocket for each one with their name. I love these so much. I want these again, for crying out loud. Look at them. I want Bert and Ernie and Baby Bear and Big Bird and the Twiddlebug and Oscar and all of them. There were a ton more little figurines as cereal box prizes in the 90s and 2000s, like a bunch of different Disney ones. More Disney ones, more Disney ones. They also had some little Pokemon figures that were more like ball-shaped Pokemon, some Toy Story 2 figures for the release of the movie, as well as the cereal box prize mascot as a little figure, and so many more. The 2000s. Mini Pez dispensers came in 2001 boxes of General Mills cereal, and they were of the cereal mascot. More spoons. Kellogg's had these Monsters Inc. spoons in 2001. Cheerios had these Monsters Inc. lithograph trading cards also in 2001, but these are the Nestle Cheerios, so these are the UK. I believe most of these cereals are US cereals, but a few of them might be international. Nesquik had little Monsters Inc. figurines in 2002. You could get these little Jimmy Neutron figurines that popped open into spoons. A double prize! And these came out in 2002 from Kellogg's, of course. The Finding Nemo water toys and straws that came in 2002 boxes of Kellogg's. General Mills had Shrek 2 watches in 2003. I don't know why getting a watch just seems like such a steal to me. Like, I don't even wear watches, but I would totally have bought this for the watch. Oh my god, and the Kellogg's Disney Wobbler Beans, do you remember these? They came out in 2005 and they had 50 different characters to collect. These were very similar to like Mighty Beans where they wobble back and forth but they don't fall over. But Mighty Beans were like small. These ones were actually like big, which makes sense because they came in food. They needed to be a bigger toy. Kellogg's also had these Disney mini bobbleheads that you could get in 2003. This looks like a little preview pack. Of course, they had a bunch of different characters, and I actually have one. Here's the little Minnie Mouse bobblehead. It kind of just like spins back and forth. I actually got this in a box with like a bunch of miscellaneous toys from the thrift store. I was getting it for other toys, but she was in there as well. She's a little bit sun faded, but it does say Kellogg's on the bottom. Oh, Kellogg's also did Cartoon Network bobbleheads, or wobbleheads as I guess they're calling them, in 2003, and I want the Powerpuff Girls ones so bad. I love Powerpuff Girls, I collect it. And they did these Cartoon Network spinner tops. Here's those. Oh, more Kellogg's Cartoon Network items. These are the Toon Tags, which came out in 2002, and it looks like they have a little secret message on them. Some little Kellogg's Simpsons mini figurines from 2003. Of course, the light up lightsaber spoons. How freaking iconic. Of course, a Kellogg's Star Wars collaboration. Who doesn't want a light up lightsaber spoon? They put these out in 2005, but then they also did Indiana Jones light up spoons in 2008, but I guess these ones were a lot harder to find. And General Mills had the B-movie toys to promote the movie in 2007. In case you didn't pick up on it, movies and TV shows loved to advertise through cereals like this. And do you remember when you could get free CD-ROMs in your cereal box? Free computer games? Oh my god. This seemed like the best deal to me. A free game? Hell yeah. General Mills put out a bunch of these with all different kinds of games to choose from, like Operation, Clue, Monopoly, even Roller Coaster Tycoon, Freddy Fish, a Timon and Pumbaa game, as well as a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game. Nestle also did this one. Some of these games would only be demo games, but sometimes they were the full game that you got for free with your breakfast cereal. I just love that so much. Kellogg's had Air Bud cd-rom games, as well as a Lord of the Rings demo game. Here's a Lego game, free full version game inside, over a $50 value. What a deal. Kellogg's even put out What's New Scooby-Doo DVDs with episodes of the show on them. I never remembered there being DVDs in cereal. Obviously there were. I just remember the CD-ROM games, but this is so cool. And a lot of times they would also include these bonus discs that had like 700 hours of free internet. Do you remember those discs? I remember we would get these in junk mail and they would be like 300 hours of free internet. And I guess it was to try to get you to like sign up for something and then you got like the 300 hours of free internet, because that was a thing back then. You had to like pay for hours of internet. It wasn't just a Wi-Fi box. Oh, what a time. We used to use these to do craft projects. Some boxes even came with free ringtone downloads. I'm pretty sure the Reese's Puff cereal did at one point. You could also sometimes get like free CDs with miscellaneous music on them, or maybe a code to download a free iTunes song. A little Disney sampler CD. And a moment for all the different posters, photos, trading cards, stickers, and books that you could get inside your cereal boxes as well. You could sometimes even get free movie tickets or like really generous coupons for other items. One brand even gave out free money in every box. In 1986, Almond Delight cereal had historic but real money in every box. It was money from around the world, and it could be worth anywhere from a penny to $500. Lots of cereals also had mail-in offers. There would be a form either in the box or on the box. You would cut it out, fill it out, and you would usually have to include proof of purchase of the cereals and maybe money for shipping, but you would send that into the company and then they would send you back a prize in the mail, which means sometimes you got bigger and better prizes. I even found at one point Eggo had mail-in offers where you could get some different plates, like the Star Wars one that came with waffles. At one point, Kellogg's had a mini camera you could get with their mail-in offer. They also had a Tony the Tiger fishing pole. Here's what that looked like. You could also get a Captain Crunch watch, a Darkwing Duck hip pouch, and so many more. I actually just found this ceramic Tony the Tiger cereal bowl at the thrift just the other day, and I don't know if this is like a modern thing from some sort of gift box or if this was an old mail-in offer. Let me know if you remember this. Now, we know most cereal boxes even now have all different kinds of games printed on the box, but did you know once upon a time there were real playable records on cereal boxes? In the 1970s, Post printed records right on the back of their cereal box that you could literally cut out and play on your record player. This is so crazy to me, and I had never heard about this until just recently. I saw a video from Steam Big Studios on TikTok, which I'll show you in just a minute, that showed that they were actually working records from a cereal box. That's just so crazy to me. And of course, there were several different records you could get. They had music from the Jackson 5, the Archies, Bobby Sherman, the Beach Boys, the Monkees, and I even found this fun Halloween one. Oh, and this Disney one too. My brain just cannot wrap around that you were able to cut out a piece of cardboard and play music from it. And the way that this worked was, yes, it was literally just a cardboard box, but it had a thin plastic layer on the top that had the grooves like a regular record player so that it could play the song. Now, before you start commenting, I got a prize in my cereal box just last year. Yes. There have been some modern cereal box prizes, but they are very few and far between nowadays. There was this Minions toy you could get in Cheerios in 2015, and I'm just now realizing these are banana nut Cheerios, which are my favorite Cheerios. I thought these haven't been around since like 2003. I'm so bummed I missed these in 2015. The little Minion figures you could get. In 2017, you could get this Star Wars spoon in a box of Cheerios. And in 2021, General Mills brought back the color changing spoons. And I'm so mad I missed this. I would have totally got one. I also found within the last few years, Kellogg's gave out some Jibbit charms in their cereals. Lucky Charms had this free little mini retro figure inside. Funko cereal was a thing in like what, 2017, 2018-ish, where they made these fun themed cereals and it came with a mini Funko figure. And just recently, Kellogg's had these boxes with free 90s glow stickers inside. I love these. Of course, I wish I had got them, but I didn't know they were a thing. Editing Maddie here. I somehow forgot to answer the actual question. What did happen to cereal box toys? Why are there no more prizes in the boxes? Now, they haven't been banned completely, obviously, because they still pop up here and there, but they are not like they used to be. While there is no official statement from any of these companies why they don't do this anymore, I think the logical answer is money. Corporate greed. These companies don't want to spend an extra penny more than they have to produce their products. They're going to cut every corner to save as much money as possible and therefore make as much money as possible. And I feel like nowadays, brands and companies, especially big brands, really don't care about the consumer like they used to back when. I feel like brands actually used to care about how the consumer felt about their brand, about their products, that the consumer was completely happy with the products, and now they just don't. So they're gonna cut every corner. They're not gonna add, I don't know, an extra 5 cents to a box to add a free toy because they just don't care about spending the money or creating a really fancy, exciting, consumer-loving brand, I guess. And of course it depends on the brand, and I'm sure some brands did the research and decided there wasn't enough extra revenue from those boxes with the toy to continue putting the toy in the box, but it's just overall disappointing. I also feel like there may be a bit of like the overconsumption trend may be a problem, because back when I was a kid, like you picked one box of cereal. You were not going to just go in and buy a bunch of different boxes because you wanted to try them all, at least I wasn't. And so having a toy in the box was definitely a big incentive to make me or my parents pick that cereal because you got an extra prize. But nowadays, people will just go buy whatever they saw on social media. They'll buy 6 boxes. They don't care. They don't need the extra incentive anymore. Another potential answer, which I think is maybe only a small part of this, could be potential lawsuits / laws / rules / dangerous toys. Toys can be a choking hazard and be a big liability for the company. There's also rumors that there was a watch that had like mercury in it, which is super dangerous, especially near food, and just issues like that. And there are some rules they put in place in like 2007. I don't think they were actually laws, but basically saying that brands cannot target their ads to kids under 12, which is good. But some people feel that that may have gone into the toy incentive part of things because the toys were advertising to kids under 12, and maybe that's why some brands stopped doing it as much. But personally, I feel that the biggest reason companies started doing this was just because of money. They didn't want to spend the extra money. They don't really care about their consumers anymore. Just my thoughts. This is not from any actual brands. Let me know why you think they stopped putting the fun prizes in cereals. But wait. It wasn't just cereals. You could also get fun prizes and other snacks like toaster pastries, pudding, fruit snacks, and many more. Of course, Cracker Jack has always had little prizes in their popcorn. That's like their shtick, and they've been doing that since 1912. So there's literally been thousands of them. So I just feel like that's a whole other thing that I'm not gonna get into right now, but I feel like recently it's just been stickers. Like I got a box maybe a year ago and it was just a sticker. No longer a toy. That's a bummer. In the early 2000s, Snack Pack put out these Powerpuff Girls puddings, which I begged and begged and begged for because they came with a cardboard trading card and I wanted it so bad. I hated the pudding. I thought it was gross, but I loved the little trading card I got. I couldn't find a picture of it, and I'm sure it like exists somewhere in my house still. I wish I could find it, but it was just a cardboard rectangle and it was printed with, I think it was the girls in their pajamas, like having a pillow fight, or they were just in their room or something, and I loved it so much. Just this little cardboard trading card meant so much to me. Snack Pack also had these dino cups from the movie Dinosaur that also came with cardboard trading cards. Also in boxes of Pop-Tarts from 2000, like this one here, you could get these puffy Cartoon Network magnets, and I had one of these. I'm sure I wanted the Powerpuff Girls one, but I got the Courage the Cowardly Dog one. And I remember it being on our fridge for years, and it was like a squishy, puffy texture, but Courage scared me. So I wasn't thrilled about that. Pop-Tarts also had these little mini Pokemon battle figures inside their boxes in 2000. And Shark Bites fruit snacks, do you remember Shark Bites? You could get a little plastic shark. I think sometimes they were glow in the dark and other times they were just colors. Here's some of the other little toys. This one also says free inside action sub. So I guess there were little like boats as well. And they also did these little water squirter toys as a free prize. This one seems a bit dangerous to me because these literally look like the gummies. So maybe don't make your toy look exactly like the food. And Yogo's even once had free Yogo's dispensers and some of their boxes in the early 2000s. Long story short, put prizes back in snack boxes. I will buy them. It was just fun, and I miss these little pieces of whimsy from our childhood. We definitely need that again nowadays. I know there's hundreds more cereal box and snack box prizes that I could include in this video, so please tell me what was your favorite one that you had and played with forever, or one that you wanted so bad but you never got your grubby little paws on it. I would love to hear about them all. And we do all things 90s and 2000s nostalgia here, so if you love that, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe. You can also follow me on my socials, which are always linked down below and are at Madi Hearts, and I hope you come back for our next nostalgic adventure. Bye!